have a Mr. Brown that y'all wanted to come up with first, then we could go to Mr. Baptista's client.
That's fine.
Okay. So now let me find Mr. Brown. Are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm still there.
All right. So let me see what you have here, sir.
It was supposed to be a trespassing after warning and possession of a weapon, but
Okay, so Mr. Brown, let me remind you that you are being recorded.
I understand, sir. This is
Mr. Brown, let me finish. Anything you say can be used against you by the state attorney. And so I just want to let you know, you don't have to talk if you don't want to, but if you have questions, I'll hear you. I just want to make sure you understand you're being recorded and whatever you say could hurt your case, whatever that is, okay?
I understand, man, but I'm not a criminal for one, just to let you know.
Okay, all
And
right.
I understand exactly what you're saying, man.
Ms. Yuri?
Your Honor, if I could just introduce myself to Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown, my name is Jessica Yuri, and I'm the lawyer in the courtroom for you this morning, okay? So I'll make all arguments for you, and just make sure you don't say anything that the state attorney is going to hear, okay?
Ma'am, I cannot incriminate myself because I'm not a criminal. Like, I cannot say the wrong thing because there is nothing wrong to say. The only thing I have to do is tell the truth. Like, the truth sets me free. I don't care if it sets anyone else free. You know, I came here to Tallahassee, Florida. I'm from Greenville, Florida. You know, I came here to Tallahassee, Florida. I've been homeless for 2 months now.
All right, so
Like-
Mr. Brown, let me tell you that from what I can see, you've been charged with 2 offenses.
Like trespassing after warning and
Mr. Brown.
possession of a weapon, sir.
Mr. Brown,
But that's a new religion. Like, that's my religion. Like,
what is
I
your
do-
religion? Interrupting me? Is that your
I
religion?
apologize. I apologize. I
Mr.
apologize.
Brown, I love to
I-
hear myself talk at least a little bit during these things, so let me
Yes, sir.
advise
Yes,
you.
sir.
Mr.
I
Brown,
apologize.
okay, let me advise you of the charges against you.
Yes, sir.
We can move on from there. You've been charged with a misdemeanor of trespassing. That's
Yes, sir.
a misdemeanor, and looks like a second-degree felony, possession of a weapon or ammo by a convicted felon. Let me look at the probable cause affidavit here. It takes me a minute to read it, Mr. Brown. You're gonna have to be patient with me.
That's all I have, sir. But you know, I would just give you my blood
Okay.
if that's all that you guys want.
Well, I'm not interested in your blood. I just want to find out what the basis of the charges are, then I want to move forward. Hold on a minute.
That's what you want. This is sad, man. I forgive you for what you don't know. What you do, I can. Thank you, God.
All right, so I find there is a probable cause, Mr. Brown. Now, let me ask you this question for these 2 charges. If you do not have a private attorney and cannot afford one, I can appoint the public defender as your attorney. Do you wish me to do that?
Right. I mean, if they're gonna represent me and my freedom for, you know, like dismissing everything that was like said, like, because, you know, I would take the trespassing charge, but I won't.
Mr. Brown, hey, Mr. Brown, I'm going to make some argument for you, okay? Let's just not say anything because the state attorney's listening.
Are you gonna help me, or are you gonna like?
Mr. Brown, do you want me
Yes.
to appoint the public defender as your attorney at this time?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, man.
Okay, so let me ask Ms. Yuri, should we have an evaluation here?
Yes, Judge, that would be the defense's request, Your Honor, is for a pre-bond screening based on some prior history that I've seen, Judge. We'd like him to be seen by the doctor.
Yeah, I'm going to order a pre-bond screening, and when would I order him to come back? Would that be Wednesday? the clerk says have him back on Wednesday. So,
Yes, sir, Judge.
Mr. Brown, we're going to have you screened, and I'm going to have you brought back Wednesday, and the first appearance judge will
All I have is time, sir.
see you then. Good luck to you, sir. Thank you, Ms. Yuri.
Yes, sir.
So let's,
They're gonna bring up that,
Mr. Baptista's client.
Jones.
Okay. Mr. Baptiste and Mr. Webster, are you there? Okay.
Yes, sir, Your Honor. Good morning.
They're going to bring up Ms. Jones. So hold on a minute. Let me read this. So she's got a warrant, so I'm going to take a quick look at that, Mr. Baptiste, and then we'll start when she gets here. Whoops. Let me see if I can find it.
And Judge, I emailed you the PC and Mr. Baptiste and Mr. Webster as well before court because I didn't see it in the packet.
Okay, was that emailed to my office?
I think it was Cooper, J.O.,
Yeah,
Leon County.
yeah. Give me a second. I'm going to run get that, and I'll be right back. Mr. Baptiste, I'm going to run get the probable cause information. I'll be back in about 5 minutes.
Yes.
You'll come up next.
Thank you.
Hello?
The judge will be right back. Just hang on a minute.
Right, let's see, Ms. Dugan's here, Mr. Baptiste and Mr. Webster.
Yes, Your Honor, we're both present.
Okay. All right. Ms. Just a second here. Ms. Jones, you have been charged with a third-degree felony under Florida Statute Section 815.062A, which involves willfully, knowingly, and without authorization or exceeding authorization, accessing or causing to be accessed in a computer system, computer network, or electronic device with knowledge that such access is not authorized or in a manner which exceeds authorization. So a warrant has been entered, and it's been signed by the county judge, which means the probable cause has already been determined. So I would not determine probable cause today. Excuse me. So let me ask you, Ms. Jones, I understand, and just let me know if this is correct, that you have attorneys, Mr. Baptiste and Mr. Webster. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Mr. Baptiste, is Ms. Jones, is she living in Florida now, or does she live in another state?
Your Honor, Ms. Jones currently resides in Washington, D.C. And also, for the record, Mrs. Jones is also represented by Stephen S. Dobson in this case.
Okay, Steve Dobson. All right.
Yes, Your Honor.
Does the prosecutor have any recommendation?
Your Honor, if I could make an argument to this case related to the search warrant and the recommendations by FDLE.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Baptiste.
Your Honor, in this
Want to
case,
say?
Your Honor, in this case, we're requesting a bond.
I'm
at the
sorry, your
bond schedule.
sound just cut out. So would you say that again? Go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor. The court can hear me clearly. In this case, we're requesting that the court issue a bond at the bond schedule for a third-degree felony in Leon County, which is $5,000. We have reviewed the documents sent by ASA Dugan this morning. We're asking that the court reject FDLE's recommendations and suggestions that Mrs. Jones have no internet access, Your Honor. Mrs. Jones is employable and needs to use internet access, Your Honor. To prevent Mrs. Jones from using the internet, it's literally trying to kill a gnat with an axe. It's simply not practical for Mrs. Jones to operate, and it's not reasonably related to any of the conditions to keep her from committing a new crime or for appearing before court. And those are two areas which this court should be concerned with under Stack v. Board.
Okay, so Mr. Baptiste, I think I got the gist of what you said, but the sound was cutting in and out. So you're requesting a bond at $5,000, and you're requesting that there be no prohibition of internet or computer access. You say the FDLE suggested that. I don't know whether they did or they didn't. What I do see is that is on the bond that the county judge signed. So let me hear the state's position on this.
Yes, sir. The state is asking for those bond conditions in this case. That would be no computer access, no internet, no contact with the witnesses involved in the case or any people that she may have obtained personal information from through authorizing this computer system, through accessing the computer system. Also, since she did relocate to another state while this case was being investigated, the state would ask for an active GPS if she were to be able to bond out. I think that another reason, in addition to the allegations in this current case, to put these restrictions on her computer or internet access are also when you consider that she's currently out on pretrial release for another crime where she broke the law using electronic communication. That case number is Leon County case number 19MM1894. That involves a cyber stalking and harassing a person through electronic communication. She was placed on pretrial release in that case on July 19th of 2019. And one of her conditions of pretrial release was to remain arrest-free. So the state would be asking for her pretrial release to be revoked in 19 MM 1894.
Okay, so let me ask the state here. I don't see any, for what criminal history I have, I don't see any charges of violent crime. Is that correct? Any convictions for violent crime?
There are not any convictions for violent crime, no.
And I see 17 ML 3464. Tell me, is that the charge that she's on pretrial release on?
She's on pretrial release on 19 MM 1894. Stalking charge. When you're looking at her pretrial release summary, it's under 3 pending Leon County cases.
Okay.
Your Honor, this is Stephen Webster. Mr. Baptiste's audio was very choppy, and he asked if I would just interject a little bit here. I just want the court to be aware that Ms. Jones, she drove herself 2 days from DC down here to voluntarily turn herself in. So, you know, as far as the active GPS goes, we don't believe that that is necessary or justified under the record here. And we're also concerned about, you know, the lack of internet. You know, obviously her cell phone, our cell phones, everybody's cell phone at this point has access to the internet on them. And, you know, she's going to be driving back theoretically, at least to DC. And if she has an emergency or needs to call her attorneys or her husband, you know, it just seems like overkill to us. And we would ask that the court allow her, you know, access to the phone and that she be allowed to.
So what are you asking? Access the phone?
Yes, sir. And Judge, she has a master's in science, and she's, you know, one of the, you know, she's a significant breadwinner for the family. She is unemployed. You know, she didn't move to DC to try to get away from anything. That's where she's from. That's the area she grew up in, and she went back home. And she's trying to find employment, you know, which once again, no access to the internet in this day and age makes it difficult to either A, track leads, especially with COVID, and then B, to apply.
Mr. Webster, what are you recommending consistent with the state's?
We would ask Judge for the $5,000. We don't believe that pretrial is going to benefit anything because it's just going to complicate an already difficult situation with her living in DC. And we would ask that, you know, that the court, you know, she will respect and understand the court's order that she not access any of the Department of Health's, you know, databases or the state of Florida databases. She has no need to do that. And that she not have any contact with any of the people that were listed on the information she's alleged to have downloaded. We understand that condition, but that's what we would request, Judge.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do: $2,500 bond and condition on no. Just a second. No contact with any of the people whose data was allegedly downloaded. Let me see how it's, or whose personal information was acquired through download. No contact through state of Florida computer systems. She can have access to her cell phone. She can also have access to computer and internet, so long as it is not involving access to any unauthorized. It would only be if she had authorization to do it, and she cannot have access under any scenario to state of Florida computer systems. I do recognize the state has asked for this, but in this day and age, if I put a total restriction on computers and internet, I might just be very well saying to Ms. Jones that she can't get a job until this case is over. That's not my point. My point is to ensure that she doesn't do anything through the internet that is illegal, or that she accesses any state computer systems of any type, whether legal or not. She just needs to stay away from state computer systems, and she cannot access or use any information that she may or may not have garnered through previous downloads or access those people. I'm not going to require a GPS monitoring, and I'm going to leave it up to the county judge as to whether he thinks that this is appropriate to revoke his pretrial release. So now, Ms. Jones,
Yes, sir.
in this case, if you violate any of these conditions, then whoever the judge is on your case could very likely revoke the bond. So I would just make sure you talk to your lawyers. You have very good lawyers. You talk to them, making sure you understand what you can and you can't do. And very important that you do show up for court hearings that you're required to show up at, etc. So anything else that we need to deal with?
No, Your Honor, I'm
No,
passed.
sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Good luck.
Excused.
Judge, I do have one more thing I just thought about.
Yes.
All her pretrial release conditions that are present in her other pending case, those all remain intact, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
You mean as a condition of the bond here?
No, as her
Yeah, her pretrial release conditions and the misdemeanor remain intact, and that would be up to, I think it's Judge Akins who's assigned to that case, but I'm not sure. That
Yes.
would be up to him to decide. Okay, thank you, everybody. So are we next with Jorge Falcon? Who's that? Mr. Falcon? Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I didn't give her pretrial release. I gave her a bond with conditions. $2,500. Sorry, it's the face mask. Okay, Mr. Falcon, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Give me a minute and I'll let you know what you're charged with here, sir. Okay, Mr. Falcon. You're charged with a misdemeanor battery. Hold on a minute and let's see. Let me find the nature of the probable cause.
Your Honor, I'm sorry to interrupt. This is Tanya Sadler, the interpreter. I'm on the line because I received an email that Mr. Falcone might need an interpreter.
All right, sir. Mr. Falcone, do you understand what I'm saying, or do you need an interpreter?
Yeah, I need somebody to speak Spanish.
Okay, so you don't understand what I'm saying, in other words.
A little bit.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the interpreter. Do you swear or affirm that you will give a true and accurate interpretation of what is being asked and what he says?
I do.
Okay. All right, so you're hereby appointed interpreter, so I will take it a little slower. Mr. Falcone, you are charged with misdemeanor of battery.
Señor Falcón, a usted se le acusa del delito menos grave de lesiones.
Sí.
I'm now going to read the probable cause affidavit.
Lo que voy a hacer ahora es que voy a leer la declaración jurada escrita sobre los indicios.
Sí.
Okay.